for today is all about the types of communication, which is verbal and non-verbal communication. What is communication? So communication comes from the Latin word communicare, which means to share. It is the sharing of information between different individuals. It includes the sharing of ideas, concepts, imaginations, behaviors, and written content. These are the components of communication. When you say components, these are the structure, okay? The structure that we need for us to have a better communication. Okay, we have first the two main component of communication, which are sender and then the receiver. When you say sender, this is the one who is talking to, or the one who is sending the message. The receiver is the person that you are talking to, okay, or the one who received your message. Then second component is the message. So what could be the text, or the what do you call this? The important thing that you want to say to the receiver. And then encode. When you say encode, the receiver starts to understand what you are trying to, okay, to send. Then next is the channel. When you say channel, these are the mediums. The mediums are the things that you use for you to send your message. Like for example, like what we have doing right now. What are the channels or mediums of communication that we are using? We have definitely the internet. We have also the text messages, phone calls, emails, etc. Those are examples of channel. And then when the receiver already received the message, he or she already decoded. When you say decoded, uh, she or he tries to understand, okay, to understand and absorb what is the message that you want to say. And then when he or she finally understood it or gets it, he or she will give you a feedback or a response. So these are this the cycle that we are doing when we are talking to another person. Now, let's analyze this communication cycle. So as what I've told you a while ago, we have the sender and then the receiver. But then, as you observe in the encircled portion or encircled text of the picture, we have here the noise. This noise is what we call the barriers. When you say barriers, these are the hindrance or the factor that can affect for you to not receive well the message of the sender. So as you can see, no more feedback and then no more decoding because there is already the noise or the barrier. We have two types of communication. These are what we call the verbal and non-verbal communication. As what you observe, these are only a brief review on the lesson that we have discussed last meeting, which is all about gestures and posture. So later, we are going to go back on that lesson. Now, let's differentiate verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication is a type of communication wherein the message is transmitted using using words, while non-verbal communication is the transmission of messages or signals through a non-verbal platform. There are forms of non-verbal communication. Okay, we have kinesis, posture and gestures, facial expressions, paralinguistics, or what we are referring to voice, haptics or touch, clothing, and proxemics. So we're going to discuss these forms of non-verbal communication one by one. The non-verbal, okay, the non-verbal communication. So we have here kinesis, or what we call posture and gesture. So these posture and gestures are rich channels for conveying non-verbal communication. Deliberate movements and signals are important way to communicate meaning without words. So we already discussed this last meeting, the use of hand movement, the body gestures. Okay, so these are examples of uh, postures and gestures that we discussed last meeting. So we have waving, pointing, and then using fingers to indicate numeric amounts. Such we have number 3, number 2, and then the stop sign. The next is the facial expressions. Definitely they are responsible for a huge proportion of nonverbal communication, because it is said that facial expression is one of the essential part of having a communication. What are those expressions that we can use in having or in expressing our message? We have happy, angry, surprise, sad. These are the common facial expressions that we use when we are sending our messages. I know you are all familiar with that, especially when you are using emojis in your uh, group chat. Then we also have paralinguistics. Paralinguistics refers to vocal communication that is separate from actual language. So this includes factors such as tone of the voice, the loudness, the inflection, and the pitch. So paralinguistics, so when you are angry, definitely your voice will become, or you are going to use rising intonation. This also includes our previous topic in the past lesson. So tone of the voice have the powerful effect on the meaning of a sentence. Another example, if you're sad, definitely your tone of voice will be what? Okay, will be lessen or will be lighten. You are going to use the falling intonation. And then next is the haptics, or refers to the sense of touch. Communicating through touch, another important nonverbal behavior. Touch can be used to communicate affection, familiarity, sympathy, and other emotions. So sense of touch, it expresses how you care for other person. Okay, how you care to other person and how you comfort them, especially to your family and friends. Then next is clothing. Our choice of color, clothing, hairstyles, and other factors affecting appearance are also considered as a means of nonverbal communication. So for example, we have here when you are having a rally, okay, so most of them, when they want to protest, they wear black. And during our Christmas party, most of the color that we choose to wear is red, yellow, and green. So these colors indicate happiness or celebrations. Then while color white, we choose this color if there is burial ceremony. So these are the meaning, okay, of clothing. Then proxemics, or referring to distance. Every person has a natural territory that he or she carries around with him or her. So one should be careful about how one enters another person's space. So si proxemics, these are usually, or we normally use, okay, in our new normal. We use the social distancing, okay. We keep distance to another person, okay, because of the pandemic. So let's have a summary of the lesson. So what is the difference between verbal and nonverbal communication and how it is useful in our everyday life? So verbal communication is the exchange of information by words. That's why it is called verbal. You can speak it, you can say it. The non-verbal communication, it is exchange of the information by wordless or cues. So these are the use of gestures and postures, even hand signals. In verbal communication, it also has less chance of confusion and misunderstanding because you directly saying or transmitting your message, while the nonverbal communication has the chance of misunderstanding the message because probably the person that you are talking to may misunderstood, okay, the message that you want to say. Then, next is verbal communication may also leads to prompt interchange of information. So when you say prompt, you can say it or you can send it directly or faster than the non-verbal communication. It takes more time and effort. You need to think, okay? You need to think what you are going to do, okay, for you to understand uh, on the person that you're talking to. Like the given example by the teacher, okay, um, on the movie, okay, he uses hand signals, but then there is a difficulty of the waiter or the crew to understand him. Okay. So for our practice time later, I'm going to send again sets of questions and statement for you to answer. So thank you very much for attending for today's lesson. I hope you do understand it well and use it in your everyday life. So stay safe and have a good day. Bye.